Host your holiday party at Apex Entertainment this year. Book early and save. Receive a $15 Apex gift card for each guest with holiday parties booked before October 1st. With flexible event space, attractions, and customizable menus, Apex is the perfect holiday party destination. For more information, contact the sales team or go to apexentertainment.com.
Bpod Studios.
No.
Who don't drink at Rocklahoma?
Your.
Who else in the level car say yeah?
Armpits of America.
They cut my beard and forced me to eat it.
.985 The Sports Hub. We're Toucher and Rich. You can watch us on Twitch at twitch.tv. And you can enjoy our beautiful faces. Rich, this is a segment that we do from time to time where you take a news story from somewhere usually quite terrible. And then we guess where it is, and then we have fun with the news story.
That's true. So I will give you guys multiple choice as to what armpit of America this true story occurred in, and then you just have to guess as to which one is correct. All right. Let's start. What's that? Yeah, that's the...
Start with two.
Okay. Start with the second one I looked
Start with the 25 second.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's start with this one. A man was arrested for shooting his gun out the window of a hotel room at something that most likely didn't exist. Is that A, Kentucky, B, West Virginia, or C, Alabama?
Well, in West Virginia, it existed. Because I would figure in West Virginia, if you're shooting at someone outside your window, something's going wrong there.
Okay.
What are the choices? Alabama and what are the other two?
Kentucky, West Virginia, or Alabama?
Kentucky's got hill people.
Yeah, there are no hotels in Kentucky.
So I'm going to go Alabama.
They just live in tree trunks? Is that what you're saying?
That's all it is.
Okay.
I was going to say Alabama, but since he said it, I'll say Kentucky.
Unless it's Louisville.
I'll say Kentucky.
Johnny Walgame coming on strong with the Kentucky guess.
Hey!
You nailed it.
Out of the tree trunk.
Let's take a listen.
11, a man is in custody tonight after a shooting at a Richmond hotel. It happened on Keeneland Drive. Police say 55-year-old Samuel Riddle started shooting out of his hotel room window while a woman was inside with him. Riddle reportedly told police he thought he saw aliens in the parking lot and was shooting at them. They say Riddle is a convicted felon and was found with 2 pistols and a rifle. He's charged with multiple counts of wanton endangerment, including against a police officer.
His name was Marvin. He had a helmet.
What if you get like a cool judge that's like Tom DeLonge or something, and he's like,
tell me more.
There's a lot of proof that these things exist. Now, do you guys believe in aliens?
Sure, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. What are we, idiots to think that we're the only like living, breathing thing in this universe?
Now, do you think that aliens have come down?
Yeah. Totally. There's no question. I actually was really into that big reveal thing that they did on 60 Minutes recently with all of the UFO footage, where they have, I don't know, Dan, if you said, because I know you're Mr. 60 Minutes as well. They had these fairly credible people from the Air Force talking about it and having no explanation as to what any of this stuff was.
My only problem was the ghetto-ass film they had from their fighter planes. Like you couldn't tell what the hell was going on.
$20 million plane, they get a $10 camera.
Exactly. It looked like, something from... 1902, like one of the Fatty Arbuckle films or something.
It was the first camera on your cell phone, on your flip phone. You basically got it from.
It was all black and white because I was all ready because I used to think there's no way, but now nothing's shocking. Like with COVID and the insurrection and all that stuff.
Too many sightings or too many people, and the Army's like, it's a weather balloon. There are too much stuff.
Nothing seems out of the realm of possibility anymore. We've got into the place now in society where like just nothing seems out of the realm of possibility.
You know how I was 100% convinced that there's aliens and that they've been here? The introduction of Space Force. When Space Force was made, because you know that all the other presidents, they said, all right, guys, you got to calm down. Don't do anything that's going to freak people out. but there are indeed aliens. They've been here and they're coming. And immediately Trump's like, F that, Space Force. And he freaked out.
Trump building a defense.
So I think he
against
immediately...
the Independence Day aliens that are going to come after us.
I'm telling you, I think that he had zero chill when he found out that they had been here and immediately made Space Force. Whereas everyone was able to kind of bite their tongue and do stuff behind the scenes.
Right.
He didn't care. Did not care. I think that was the moment that I truly knew that they had already been here. They were dangerous.
I could see something happening with our terrible generation, something, myself included, something happening that destroys the world. That we don't seem overly interested in anything that's destroying the world presently, so maybe the aliens...
Sure, we're not really holding back too much.
No. If it's something you can kill, then people get pretty excited about that.
Sure, so shoot them outside your hotel window.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
I thought they were aliens, so I started shooting at them. Instead of, reaping the billions of dollars that would come my way from capturing images of them or something, my first instinct was to kill. Like, here is this pot of gold out in front of your house. All you have to
burn
do
it.
There's and you're holding something, or there's something within 5 feet of you that could capture sharp video of this thing. But no, the instinct is to kill. No. Burn that lottery ticket. All right, Rich, what is this?
All right, story number 2. Shirley Johnson found more than
I thought he was going to say Shirley Jones.
Not Shirley Jones. Is she dead? Dead or alive? Shirley Jones. Dead. Got to be dead.
Dead, I'm going to say dead.
I'm going to say dead. Well, we'll get an
David
answer.
Cassidy, dead or alive?
Alive.
I think David Cassidy's dead.
Oh.
Shirley Jones, alive.
Oh.
87.
Now look at David Cassidy.
Let's see.
Shirley Jones in one of the great comedies of our time, Grandma's Boy.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I'm saying David Cassidy's dead.
Oh, he's dead?
Dead.
All right.
Yep.
Well, there you go. I was wrong on both counts. Shirley
2017, I think.
Yeah, sniffing glue.
Maybe that was the case.
Who knows? Could be anything.
So Shirley Johnson found more than she bargained for in the freezer section of her grocery store. Did this happen in A, Arkansas, B, Texas, or C, Oklahoma?
Okay, Texas and Oklahoma are hotbeds of livestock. I'm saying Texas.
Oklahoma.
Gosh, Wallach, 2-0. How about that?
All right.
Someone
cheated.
Let's take a listen.
Investigation now underway after a woman's disturbing discovery at a Moore grocery store.
And tonight, police say the crime may not end there. News 4's Austin Brissett on the night beat.
Well, Jolene, Brent, I've done a lot of stories in my relatively short career, but I've never seen anything like this.
Oh, thanks for the little career recap, jackass. Have you?
Well, Jolene, Brent, I've done a lot of...
I like her name's Jolene.
I like the baseline there.
Oklahoma television. Jolene, I think, is every other woman who's born.
It's like Chin in Asia. It's everyone's name, Jolene.
Well, Jolene, Brent, I've done a lot of stories in my relatively short career, but I've never seen anything like this. And for one more woman, it turned out to be a terrible situation.
And I pick up a bag of pizza rolls, and there's literally...
A Sunday trip to the store turned out to be more than what this mom bargained for.
Human...
Excuse me, I'll be going to Stop and Shop. And the problem is... Oh, Frank, I knew you were visiting Oklahoma. I didn't know you'd be up to your shenanigans. That's the key word. Gina's pizza rolls are ready. Ooh, a frozen poo.
If only they knew who it was. Nick! What were you doing at the grocery store, Nick?
Well, everyone knows pizza rolls is code word for anything goes.
And I pick up a bag of pizza rolls, and there's literally...
A Sunday trip to the store turned out to be more than what this mom bargained for.
Human... Excuse my language.
I was upset. I was disgusted. I felt like I was violated.
Shirley Wright Johnson from Moore is still trying to comprehend what happened while picking up a bag of pizza rolls from the freezer section.
I grabbed the bag. I felt something smushy on the bag, so I turned it over. And there...
Happy birthday. Relax, honey.
Someone won the lottery.
Yeah, lean into it. Buy some scratchers on the way out. Tee-hee. Mischief. Two great things that go great together. Throw it all in the microwave. I call it DA stew.
Something smushy on the bag, so I turned it over, and there it was.
Police saying it was human feces, while Shirley says another bag had been placed on top of it, covering it up.
I was so disgusted, I was almost in tears.
Lieutenant Kyle Johnson with more police says they want to talk to this man in connection to the case.
And that individual was then observed.
Guys, the fuzz, they're on to us.
Were you
Operation Frozen Tundra number 2 is not operational.
By the way, this is not like a door that you walk into. It's one of those freezer like troughs that you just reach into.
Oh, all right.
So this guy had to have like sat down over the top of it in front of everyone. Like, you're in a wide open space.
Or it happened in the back.
No. Trust me, they kind of show and it's blurred out where it's prominently placed. It's not like somebody brought it from the back and brought it in. This dude was walking in the store and probably dropped trout and sat on top of this little container and made the soft serve.
Instead of a medal, he's being ostracized.
And that individual was then observed and went to the cooler section where he proceeded to defecate inside one of the coolers before leaving the business.
Adding that he was also allegedly taking pictures of female customers inside the store.
It's a little bit disturbing. It's kind of out there. We don't see this much.
Shirley immediately alerting employees, cleaning her hands, and then heading home with her 2 kids.
Bleached my hand. I disinfected my hand. All the way home, they still was like, Mom, I can smell it. I can smell it. And I'm like,
phantom smell. Rookies. You smell nothing.
So it said freezer feces DA?
As the Eskimos do.
What?
When there's no plumbing, one must go outside where it's chilly. Perhaps he had hemorrhoids in the cool, frozen packet.
Where have we gone?
I can't wait to see what happens next.
Of pizza rolls had cooled his burning tush.
Sure.
Makes sense. Guy's walking around just trying to take some pictures of ladies.
Good how you wrap that up.
He's a photographer. He's got roids. They're screaming at him. Sees a couple cold bags, a piece of rolls.
Yeah.
Says, why not?
Well, that doesn't sound pleasant.
Inside, there was a 5'6" man seemed rolling around naked.
I smell it too, baby.
Even 2 days later, still struggling to voice her frustration with what took place.
Well, we reached out to Crest numerous times, but we never received a comment. Shirley says she was offered steaks by someone in their corporate office to make up for her experience.
They offered her meat.
Dan Lipschitz, get on a plane immediately. They're just giving steaks away. Tomahawks. Said, don't get too greedy.
Yeah.
No tomahawks for you. I mean, all you did was touch poo.
Well, listen, I mean, you got yourself a deal if I get a tomahawk out of this.
Exactly. It's $175. Just for touching some poop? Big deal.
Pizza rolls. Somebody said it's not delivery, it's diarrhea.
Oh, please.
And there it was.
Well, it's America's fun time finger food.
He proceeded to defecate.
Well, to each his own. Live and let live.
He proceeded to defecate.
I can smell it. I can smell it. And there it was. And
there's literally, I smell it too, baby.
Defecate. He proceeded to defecate.
It's Nick's everywhere.
Poor Nick, he's in the other room. It's like, I thought that part of my life was over.
No. If you don't know
left that behind.
Yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, Nick was found laying near dead in his own excrement by his now fiance.
Mm-hmm.
Nick was found in lots of poo. Poo, 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 poo.
This show is for adults.
Award-winning.
Adult-winning Marconi.
An award-winning show.
That's right.
This is what the people
we were
demand.
The best in the country for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
This is
On 98.5 The Sports Hub, young Nicholas was found in his own poo.
It's true. That is a true story. That's a true story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one person's feast is another one's famine, I guess. But, different strokes for different folks.
Young Nicholas pooped his pants. Young Nicholas pooped his girlfriend. Found him with poop in his pants. Young Nicholas pooped his pants. Young Nicholas pooped.
That's probably the hookiest of all of them, I would say.
Even though it's factually wrong, you give it to artistic license.
Mm-hmm. Because it wasn't in his pants. He was nude.
Yeah, he had no pants. He had disrobed completely.
Yeah.
Unless you count sheets as pants.
Sure. Why not? In that case, then did she roll you up like a burrito and bring you in?
Yeah, she didn't want to touch him. She didn't even wash him off. I wonder if...
At that point, you give him the Chipotle roll. You just take that thing. It's like foil. You roll him up and you put him in the back of the car.
I wonder if she ever wakes up in the middle of the night and she's like, I can still smell it.
I can smell it.
That's what she says.
Yep. Well, that's Nick for you. Big old pooey Nick.
I smell it too, baby.
All right. We'll return with more talk of going to the bathroom in just a moment.
And I pick up a bag of pizza rolls, and there's literally...
Boom Boom Games, your home for 80s and 90s retro video games, wrestling figures and collectibles, vintage toys, cards, comics, and all your nostalgia needs. They've got something for every console from Atari 2600 to the PS5 and Xbox Series X. Looking for a specific video game? They will try to source it for you. Do you have some old consoles or collectibles? Bring them in, because Boom Boom Games buys and trades. Boom Boom Games is also your store for Star Wars toys, Pokemon, and the wrestling selection will have you feeling that sweet chin music. Boom Boom Games in Billerica. Check them out.
What they say in the morning, you'll be talking about all day.
This is a dumb conversation, but why the hell not? That's what we do.
Toucher and Rich, 98.5, The Sports Hub.
98.5 The Sports Hub. We're Toucher and Rich. Rich, what's going on?
So I wanted to mention this because we don't do this often, but if you remember, a couple of years ago, my wife, she attempted to run the Boston Marathon. As you know, she's a cancer survivor. She got help from the good people over at Dana-Farber. And it was the year, it was 2 marathons ago, where the rain was so awful that there were a lot of people who quit. There was reports of a bunch of people getting hypothermia from the race. It was not only raining, a torrential downpour, but it was extremely cold as well. And at one point, my wife started shaking to the point where she had to go over to one of the medical tents, and one of the doctors there, it was actually somebody who had worked at Dana-Farber, and had contacted her doctor, and it was suggested that she stop and not finish the race. It obviously broke her heart. She was trying to raise money for Dana-Farber, and she eventually ended up going back and in the middle of the night and finishing it. But now she's attempting to do it because it's been moved to October, because they moved from the beginning of it. For COVID reasons, they moved to October. She is attempting to finally run the Boston Marathon in its entirety. And she's once again raising money for Dana-Farber, the people who saved her life. And anybody around here who has, even been around somebody with cancer, who has had cancer, knows that I don't think there's many better places that you can donate money to than the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. If you are able to, she would love to have you help donate to raise money for this. If you want to go to @ToucherandRich, our Twitter account, you can donate there. I'll also put it on our Facebook page as well. Whatever you can give. This year's kind of more important than a lot of them because there's a limited amount of people who can run this race. So Dana-Farber will not have as many people raising money for them as in the past. So, obviously to make up for that, they need more people to donate. So if you can do it, that would be awesome. We don't ask listeners for donations for things that often. We do the Bruins, usually a charity thing with the Bruins, and I'll mention something like this. But if you can donate, @ToucherandRich, the Twitter account, would love to have you do that and help raise some money for the good people over at Dana-Farber.
When is the marathon?
It's in 3 weeks, I think. It's the
Columbus
11th.
Day, the 11th.
Yeah, October the 11th.
Romero's wife is running the marathon.
She is. And you know what's kind of crazy? I don't know if it's been settled, but I do believe that for a while, the route is going to be going, it's the same route as usual. I had heard, and I want to see if this has been settled, that Brookline was giving the people a hard time. They were like one of the only towns that had not quite approved it because they were upset that it was being done on Indigenous Peoples Day.
Oh, yes. They just had to make a fit.
I know. I have to kind of continue to Google to find whether that story has been settled. But I remember when it first all came out, it was somewhat of a big deal that they were one of the only towns.
Well, they had to. They had a little bit of power. They're on the route, You got to go through there to get to the end. So why not raise a fuss about it? And
they apparently approved it.
Didn't you say,
okay, but it was just recently. There was just like
September 1.
Okay, all right.
Didn't you say like they weren't doing enough for Indigenous Peoples Day?
I think that they were upset that it was chosen to be on a day that should have been taken more seriously.
Okay, so what was everyone to do? What as a society, what are we to do?
Maybe call your friends who are Indigenous people and
I don't know. I don't know what exactly Brookline was expecting to do. What did this prohibit Brookline from doing?
So what ended up happening from that, I'm reading now, is that I guess the Boston Athletic Association, who runs the marathon, had to apologize for holding it on Indigenous Peoples Day, and I guess after
apologize to who?
I don't know.
Did they have to go to?
I'm reading the article.
Did they have to go to a reservation and build a stage and do a mass apology, or do they have to apologize to the schmucks on the city council of Brookline who are most likely not Native American?
Okay, here's the apology. VAA. This is the specific apology.
But I want to know who the apology was to.
I'm going to. This is
it. Says who's it's to.
Yes. We extend our sincerest apologies to all Indigenous people who have felt unheard or feared the importance of Indigenous Peoples Day would be erased. We are sorry.
So this is what Brookline demanded, and
yes.
So the white find out who's on Brookline City Council and how many of them are Native American.
Okay,
because I'm gonna guess. Oh, I don't know. Zero chance of any of them being Native American. So I do like them speaking for the Native American community, the town of Brookline, which is synonymous. You know what, Brookline? Why don't you give your land over to Native American people? That's what you should do. Take Washington Square, kick everyone out, and make it a Native American place. Do that. Do that, you stupid sons of bitches. You phony bastards. Do that. What are you doing that's so great? Because now if you tell me, like, they're giving up like a bunch of land and they're doing all this stuff, then I'll go, oh, well, fantastic. But they're not doing anything. Well, they're just raising a fuss.
It says the apology comes after the Brookline Select Board delayed its vote on issuing the Boston Marathon special use permit at a July 27th meeting, arguing that organizers needed to work harder at acknowledging the scheduling controversy and incorporating Indigenous Peoples Day celebrations into Marathon Day.
Oh, Brookline, famous for its indigenous person celebrations.
They said, I would really like to see more public-facing acknowledgement by the BAA at a minimum, said Vice Chairman.
What is the BAA?
The Boston Athletic Association.
Oh, the powerhouse, that's the Boston Athletic Association. They need to do more. That's right. That's always been a gripe of mine with them. Because when I turn to, when I want to think of the problems facing the world, I often go to the Boston Athletic Association. It's a shame they're not doing more.
Well,
what is Brookline doing? What are you doing, you pieces of garbage that make that place unlivable? What are you doing, big selectman, big moron selectman loser wants to spend their time doing this stupid garbage? What are you doing? No, what you did is you found out that someone wanted something from you, and you figured you'd make a fuss about it. Well, meanwhile, you're not doing anything, you phony liberal. That phony garbage. So you care so much. What are you doing about it? What you got? Oh, and congratulations to sticking to your guns. You got the Boston Athletic Association to write some apology to the sky.
Well, the other thing, too, is that, the majority of the people, just like my wife, who are running are doing it for charities, like big, cancer charities and things like that. I mean, the amount of money that is raised for all of these different nonprofits because of this.
The point is, what were they going to do that this prohibits? What was the big plan in Brookline? Because if there was some big plan, then okay, if you are like Captain Indigenous Peoples Day and this is going to be like our town's, well, we're going to hang our hats on with the great ethnic diversity of Brookline, which is really a Benetton ad of people. It's really so many people from the rich to the very rich are represented in Brookline. And with that country club of yours, when the U.S. Opens there, it's going to be very exciting to see all you do for indigenous people. What are you going to do during the U.S. Open at the Brookline Country Club for Indigenous Peoples Day? How do they get it? Hey, every parking lot that's going to get taken over, what are they doing for Indigenous Peoples Day? You're so proud of yourselves, big phony morons. What a bunch of phonies. You're not doing enough. What are you doing? What are you doing? Not working, I suppose. That's number one. Well, congratulations for taking the bullet.
Well,
I mean, problem solved. You're not working.
The vice chairman,
Vice Chairman Hoosie Watts. He said, Vice Chairman time on his hands.
He said there are some people who think this is just bluster, and there's no way people are going to vote against having the Boston Marathon.
You know why he says that?
Yeah.
Because that's exactly it. There's a lot of people that know what's going on here, but no.
He said, for me, it's certainly not that. I absolutely will vote against it, and I don't think I will be the only one.
Yeah, you voted all against it. It's not happening. Well done. Yeah, you weren't going to. Yeah, the Boston Marathon wasn't going to run through Brookline. You're so powerful. What a piece of crap. Screw you. Oh, boy, does that stuff piss me off. Then you do something about it. You do something about it. If it's such a major issue, you are going to do nothing but judge other people and point fingers. You phony liberal. You phony bleeding heart piece of crap.
Was there an edit just then? It sounded like you were heading in another direction.
I don't know. Because if you told me, listen, Brookline is very involved with the Native American people, and there's a lot of problems going on, and they have this massive thing, and the marathon disrupts this, and we feel that, it's really disrespectful. Then you would go, okay, well, maybe that. Then you would go, you have a point. You at least have a point. Mm-hmm. But they had nothing planned. What, was the library going to have a Native American Day? The library that bums go to use the bathroom in, and that's it? Oh, boy, do I hate that crap. A lot of people are going to think this is just bluster, but I'm going to vote against it. Unless what? Unless they write a one-sentence apology? An apology to who? And then meanwhile, if I'm got no money and nothing going on and I'm stuck on some Indian reservation, well, at least I can go to bed tonight knowing the Boston Athletic Association apologized for having the marathon that day. A lot of feet on the ground work you're doing. With your mask outside.
It sounds like there's another board member who's kind of trying to distance himself from what was being said. He came out and said, listen, the Boston Marathon's one of the things that makes people feel really good about Boston. There's no doubt in my mind that Brookline is not going to stand in the way of there being a marathon.
Of course they weren't going to do that.
And we're going to work it out. So he goes, so I don't want people to get the wrong message from this. I don't want to see a headline that says Brookline threatens to block the marathon, blah, blah, blah. But that's exactly what he said.
Yeah, well, yeah, because that's what your idiot counterparts are doing. A bunch of socialists.
Well, when I watch
bunch of phony socialists. Oh boy, were they pissed that COVID got the vaccine. Oh, they did not like that at all. Then they couldn't tell you what to do anymore as much. Oh, what a disaster that town is. And of all the races, Native Americans, which is synonymous with Brookline. How about this? How about you give your salary up to Native American your causes? Every selectman that didn't want the Boston Marathon to come through should give up their salary for the year. It can't be their only job. Give up your salary for being the selectman. Give it up. What is it in the Catholic Church? Tithing?
Yeah, it's your tithe. It's a percentage.
Tithing. Yeah. Give 75% of all your money to the Native American causes. You phony bastards. We want an apology. You want an apology? This is what happens when you get in trouble on the radio, too. It'll be some, moron that's, from the Mayflower, sitting there, standing up for all the people that you apparently offended. And then, meanwhile, what are they doing? They want, so what? So they're telling you to do something? No, you do it. You do it. Oh, no. You can't run through the town. No. Because we were going to solve all the problems. We had it all under control, and now you ruined it with your race. Oh, boy.
Well, the Boston Athletic Association did come out, and they did apologize, and they said that they are going to be doing a lot of different things to reach out to the community. I mean, so the people of Brookline, in fairness, they got what they want.
But why would they want that? Who are they to speak for the Native American people? What do they need? Who are they to talk for them? It's insulting. It's so paternalistic. I don't think that the head of the committee is Chief Redstone or something. I'm going to guess that's not the names. Machi.
So there you go. It looks like everything's all been
right.
It's all been fixed.
Yeah, it's all been fixed.
And the race is on.
It's all been fixed. And all the huge problems been fixed.
And if you can donate to help, of course, Dana-Farber, go to @Toucher and Rich.
I'm taking all my money to wherever the Brookline City Council says to put it. That's what I want to do because they speak for all. They speak for all of Native Americans because they can't speak for themselves. They need the Brookline City Council to speak for them. That's what they need. It's an impossibility for them. And they need people as far up in the government. I understand if you're a senator or something like that, governor. No. They need the selectmen of the city council of Brookline to come out and really throw their massive political weight behind them. Go handle the lady at the grocery store with the bullhorn. Go
the woman with the sound monitor.
Bring donuts to the 911 operators.
Yes, please. Because they're on the other end of
they're on the end of what you've constructed over there.
The worst of the worst. Those guys are saints that walk among us.
What you've reaped, what you've sowed over there. You've taken the land and you've created chaos and pain in that town. Well, thank God that they're speaking up, and thank God that they have the massive power to make the Boston Athletic Association apologize. Oh my God,
that's really nice of Brookline. You know what I think of Brookline? Eat a
so that's the angry callers.
That was the guy out in the park. I remember that one. The guy's out in the park because the dog got too close to him.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'd like to have an officer stop by and make a report about finding a large rock in my front yard.
Yeah. This is why people go insane the other way. This is why people go nuts and start QAnon and everything is because of these idiots. They get everyone all riled up like me.
There's a rabbit on my driveway I don't know what's going on with it, but it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Don't worry, the rabbits.
It's named Joe. The bottom feeder. All right, here are the headlines.
This Sports Hub On Demand content is brought to you by Coastal Heritage Bank. At Coastal Heritage Bank, they have the privilege of being a community bank, committed to enriching the lives of their neighbors, including helping customers become homeowners. Visit coastalheritagebank.com to learn about their comprehensive line of mortgage products, including their first-time homebuyer program. Coastal Heritage Bank, growing together. Member FDIC, member DIF, equal housing lender, NMLS number 45145.
This is the home of the Bruins and the Celtics.
It is nothing but a thrill a minute.
These guys.
Oh, my Lord, what could come next?
Toucher and Rich on Boston's home for sports. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
98.5, the Sports Hub, where Toucher and Rich. Will Brinson going to join us at 9. On Sunday, Gary Washburn wrote, the NBA is going to release an all-time top 75 players to commemorate its 75th anniversary. And they did this in '97 to celebrate their top 50.
Yep.
They did that. They said, he writes, Bob McAdoo, Dennis Rodman, and Dominique didn't make the original top 50. Among the top 50, Shaq was the 24, was the youngest player selected. That means guys like Gary Payton, Reggie Miller, Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, Grant Hill, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Alvin Iverson, and Vince Carter were not eligible or were not there. And, of course, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Dirk Nowitzki, Tracy McGrady, and Mitch Richmond. Mitch Richmond and Tracy McGrady are in the Hall of Fame?
Tracy McGrady, didn't he just get in like a couple of years ago? I think that Tracy McGrady's numbers are insane.
And he goes, how about Chris Webber? And we haven't gotten to the recently retired or current impactful players, LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, Bosh. Oh, Bosh.
So this list comes out, you said like fairly soon, the newest updated one?
Good, I don't know when. Chris Paul, Durant, Westbrook, Curry, Harden, Howard, Dwight Howard, Kawhi Leonard.
Dwight Howard, as much as we crush him for his personality, you take a look at his first 10 or 15 years in the
they're
league.
Insane. They're
but
insane.
Crazy
but
numbers.
you have to, then, I mean...
He was a dominant force.
But if you're going to do the top 75 players of the 75 years of the NBA, you have to include people that from when the NBA was first starting. And so that eliminates Chris Webber. That eliminates Mitch Richmond.
But that's the problem. The voters...
Mitch Richmond's in the Hall of Fame?
I looked it up. I couldn't believe it
Well,
either.
Fred, you also
for
have
what?
to...
For being in the game? I guess they had to pay him off for screwing him in that playoff game.
Well, don't you also have to take away certain parts of... I mean, the championships thing is probably, the ultimate gauge, but, I mean, you look at the average points that were scored back in the day are nowhere near what's being scored now. And the way the game is played, you can't compare stats to stats. So, I mean, it's got to be a weird thing to try to sit down.
Some of these voters are younger, and because of that, they'll only remember what they saw the last 15 or 20 years, or they'll give priority to what they saw the last 15 or 20 years, which will squeeze out some of the real old guys from the top 50 list. I mean, for instance, Willis Reed, a perfect example.
Well, he's got him as a guy who could be out.
A legend in the early 70s.
So maybe the greatest moment in NBA history.
Right, but you look back at his numbers and you're like, oh, okay. But not as good as some of the guys from the last 10 or 15 years.
Sure, like take a look at a guy
Grant Hill. He there's no way they've been playing basketball in the NBA for 75 years, and Grant Hill is one of the best players. I'd even say Paul Pierce and Ray Allen. And for 75 years, and you got 75 guys, Paul Pierce and Ray Allen. Vince Carter played forever, but, I mean, he was never the greatest.
Yeah, I guess the way you could think about it is picking the 10 best people from each decade. You know what I mean?
That's possible.
So, and was Paul Pierce one of the 10 best in a decade?
No,
he was probably just outside.
No,
of it.
but he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes,
but one of the best 75 of all time.
Yeah, right. So the problem with the Hall of Fame is they let everyone in, and so that's a big problem with the Basketball Hall of Fame. They let far too many people in, which is fine. Just don't ask people to care that much about it.
Think about it. I mean, another one I just thought of who made the top 50 list, Bill Walton.
No, he doesn't deserve to be in.
Well, that's the thing. He's absolutely going to get squeezed out because he was more legendary as a college player than he was as a pro.
Right, and people feel sorry for him.
He made the top 50, but there are so many other players in the last 25 years that have passed him, and you go back and you look at what Bill Walton did before he got hurt.
Because you can't put in Gary Payton because there's no way he's one of the top 75 players of all time. Is Reggie Miller...
was
Steve Nash?
Was Reggie Miller one of the... See, I think that there's an argument that either one of them were a top 10 player for a decade.
I think Steve Nash is.
And I think you got to put...
Back-to-back MVP. I think Steve Nash is one of the best 75.
Okay, because the Kobe, Duncan, Garnett, and Nowitzki are slam dunks.
Sure. Yes, no question.
And Shaquille O'Neal is a slam dunk. But, I mean, some of these guys are really, really good. And Iverson might be 75.
Yeah, Iverson.
Because if you go greatest, because the thing with Iverson is you could say he's one of the great point guards of all time,
greatest small player of all time,
and you can't say Gary Payton's one of the best point guards of all time. You could say Steve Nash is. I don't think Jason Kidd's one of the best point guards of all time, even though his numbers, people are enthralled with his numbers.
Dwayne Wade on that list.
Probably.
Yeah. I got to think he's got to be in there.
Dwayne Wade would be in there.
Yeah.
So, see, you're adding these people. I mean, but
Bosch is not.
No.
No.
Bosch shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
I agree.
But if you want to put, if you want to put him in the Hall of Fame, put him in the Hall of Fame. But don't ask anyone to care about it. No one really cares. People were interested in what Paul Pierce was going to say.
It's in Springfield, and you've never been to it.
No. My wife has. I've never been.
I'd like to go. I've never been.
Built into the side of a mall.
Okay,
Very nice.
but when they had the induction ceremony a couple weeks ago, where were they?
At Mohegan Sun?
Yeah, they weren't even at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, they do it at Mohegan.
Well, that's like the Hockey Hall of Fame. That's like legitimately an anchor store at a mall.
I know, but it's in a city that you would at least go to.
Yeah, I mean,
no one's going
it's
to
in Toronto.
Springfield.
It's funny because you can tell
the
the
induction.
Well, that's the same with Canton, Ohio. Like,
exactly.
Like Canton, Ohio is not by anything. Like, you're never going to end up there by accident.
Well, you can tell that the Hall of Fame, the NBA Hall of Fame, has a chip on their shoulder because they've sunk a lot of money into that. And like when you pull in, there's like advertising and stuff. But you're right, it's still in Springfield.
Well,
It's still attached to a mall.
I mean, you got to take your kids and go like, look, here's Chris Bosh and Chris Webber, the ultimate greats.
By the way,
here's Mitch Richmond.
Speaking of all these guys,
He scored a lot of points. I didn't know.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere.
I know.
For no reason.
Averaged like 22 points a game for 14 years.
Okay, so is Alex English then one of the top 75 players?
No, he's not.
Is oh my God, Sidney Moncrief one of the top 75 players?
Not. No,
because I can name you a bunch of kid players from when I was a kid.
I know
that were all stars every year.
A lot of points too. That's true.
They were all stars every year, but they played on garbage teams that never did anything. Is Adrian Dantley?
Now Dantley, Detroit at the end of his career, right?
Yeah, but he didn't win the titles.
Oh, they
there.
traded him for Aguirre.
Yes,
That's right.
Aguirre won the titles in Detroit.
Is Mike Bibby all jacked?
Mike Bibby
in there?
Again, another guy who played out in the middle of nowhere, Sacramento, right?
You saw that picture was going around about a year ago where he just like said, "I'm doing bench press."
No, it's I'm doing steroids is what it is.
By the way, real quick, it was just announced that J.J. Redick is retiring.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I always wanted him to be a Celtic. I mean, he's
because he's white.
Of course, you can say what you will about the guy, but he is white. But that dude made so much cash, especially in the end, just being a hired gun. Fred, how much money do you think J.J. Redick made in his lifetime? And this, I'm actually looking at the total, and it seems kind of low because the big payday started about 5 years ago. Like in his final 5 years.
$55 million.
Higher.
$70 million.
Higher.
$80 million.
Higher. $118 million this guy made in his lifetime. The last 5 years. Last year, he made $13 million. The year before with the Pelicans, $13.5. The 76ers, 3 years ago, made $12.2, and the year before that somehow got $23 million.
That was a one-year contract, too. It was 1 year and $23 million.
Unbelievable. Because up until that point, he was like hovering around like $2, and then he bounced up to like the $6 million, and then out of nowhere, the Sixers just go, here's $23 million. And he ends up retiring at, what, you say, 36 years
37.
old? 37 years old with $118 million.
But the thing you can say about him is he was always a very, very good basketball player. I mean, you knew he was a star in college. And then, I mean, so that's not one of the ones where you go, oh, my. I mean, like you figure he earned the money. There's some guys in sports where you're just like, woof.
But just like to be a specialist the way he was.
That's right. He had one skill.
Yep. He just was, I'm shooting threes.
One elite skill.
Yes.
But, I mean, he was a very good athlete. And, I mean.
He was a stud at Duke, sure.
Well, yeah. That's what my point is that, like, he wasn't some jabroni that.
No, he wasn't Kyle Korver, who legit only could shoot.
Well, and who literally can't defend.
Right.
And so
Redick could do it in a passing sense.
Like, at least Redick, like, if you were at the gym, you would be like, wow, this guy's really good at basketball. And he's, like, tall. Like, there's, like, some guys you just like, wow, big lump. Like, backup quarterbacks and stuff. Like at the end of Baker Mayfield's career, you're going to go, how do you make all that money? There's some 6 foot tall dude walking around. All right, we'll be joined by Will Brinson in just a moment.
The safety of our loved ones, it's never been more top of mind. Which is why, for many families, the Drive with Safety app has never been more reassuring.
Phew.
It lets you know where every driver in the family is located. Plus, families that use the Drive with Safety app can save 5% in their auto policy while benefiting from information that can help improve each driver's performance. Ask an independent agent about safety insurance. We'll help you manage life's storms.